Hi, I'm Kasey Crute. I'm 22 years old, and I just got my first internship at the RRTC here at BCU. And what I've found to be most helpful, accessing services in the community, most importantly, and this is how I've found through my internship actually, was just the importance of social media. And I didn't really realize this until, how beneficial this was until I actually started my job here at the RRTC, and just seeing, because I researched through different apps like Pinterest and then other social media like Facebook and YouTube. There's just so many other people out there that you can access information from. And persons with disabilities especially, there's so much out there that they're putting out themselves that you can't necessarily learn from other people, or just applying for, through services or something like that. Also, I've had to learn, which has been pretty hard, that you, number one, have to be your own advocate for yourself, because other people aren't going to know specifically your way. And so when you're accessing things out there in the community, you know yourself better than other people. And if you try and you try and you try and something's not working, or you can't access something, you need to be motivated by your own situation to make a new way, and it's very possible to do that. So yeah, like they say, there's a will, there's a way, so you can make something work. Slide 2. The most helpful thing that I have found, the most important service in the community it's actually called Samaritan's Walk. It's the gym that I go to in Ashland. They're actually a part of a bigger gym facility for people who do not have mobility issues, but Samaritan's Walk helps all sorts of people with spinal cord injuries, strokes, different kinds of like muscular sclerosis. It's a small family-run place, but they help all types of people, and I'm very glad that it's close enough to me that I can access it. And through this gym, it's family run, the people have been so nice, and meeting the other people I guess it's just that I didn't run into a lucky situation. It's just that I found that when you actually do reach out and try to access services or do something for yourself, any type of people, there's so many waiting for you to just help you or to learn from you, that you can learn from as well. It's just, people learn from each other. It's not, and people miss things from each other that they learn, I guess. Yeah, so that was incredibly helpful. Other supports that I've found in my community, like I said, my trainer's gym at Samaritan's Walk, but also, and also, like I said, the internship at the RRTC here at BCU. But I've reached out to other organizations, and even though I might not have stuck with them, it's just so important to get out there and do it anyway, because I still have contacts with certain people in these organizations that I might not, actually rely on today. And I know some other supports in our Richmond area are the SCIA VA, the Spinal Cord Injury Association of Virginia, and then Sportables, which has tons of mobility adapted sports available for people. Those are just a couple. What I recommend for you know, younger people, you know, the youth of with disabilities. Like I said earlier, you have to be the best advocate for yourself. And it's been 3 years, and I feel like I really haven't taken responsibility for myself. I mean, I'm 22, I live at home with my mom and grandma right now. They're my main caretakers, and I'm finally getting hit with the face that, the fact that, wow, I have to grow up. And like I said, I got an internship, but there's so many things you have to do for yourself, and you have to truly understand anything and everything that has to do with you and all the different things you have to go through for yourself. You have to understand all that. You can't just let your parents or someone else direct your care or something like that. You should try to become as independent as possible, because in the long run, it's going to make you feel so much better. And also too, when you're trying to find something, nothing's just going to fall in your lap. It's not just a perfect road, you know, and nothing, I don't know, you're always gonna try something, and it's not gonna be it might not be exactly something that, you know, you wanna end up with in the end, like those different organizations I was going through. But you're learning stuff continually as you go along the way. And so that's very important, that to try things and to get out there, even if you prejudge them or something like that, or even if you think it's boring, you know, you're always gonna find something, and you might not even know it, but it's just important to keep trying. And okay, so I guess my main advice that I have is that, like I was touching on before, you have to make decisions, yet you have to do the work as well. So there's been many instances where I've tried to connect with people, and then I just didn't follow through. And they could have been huge sources of, you know, of help to me. And it's just the fact that I didn't follow through. And I'm learning that now, you know, it's kind of, I wish I had done that before, because there's been so many people trying to help me. And I think that goes back to the fact that when you try to access resources in your community, there will be people there. You just have to reach out for yourself and stand up for yourself. Even if you don't think those people really relate to you. I've reached out to my neighborhood to help me with certain things. And normally I wouldn't think, you know, we don't have tons of neighbors that, you know, we're friends with or something like that, or we don't know that many people in our neighborhood, but once I put something out into the newsletter, there were tons of people that wanted to help me, or just calling different agencies, or just recently going through a problem I had at my caretaking company. You know, we had to reach out to DMAS, and we're continually doing stuff even if it doesn't work. And so that's just important. And the important thing about having a job or interning or doing anything like that, it's just continually promoting you and your independence and giving you the means to do all of these things. And as I have learned, you know, some experience, different days, you know, can be boring, or they can, you know, be depressing or stressful, but you're always learning something, and just getting out there is so good, and you're gonna find something, you know, you're gonna find something that maybe not necessarily you love, but you enjoy one day, and it's all about each day that you take, because it's just a roller coaster ride, and that's what life is. And also, the last thing I want to say is that your life is your life. You know, people have said to me that, you know, since I've had my injury, you know, I'm a C6 quadriplegic, that, wow, okay, count your blessings, you're better off than some other people. But I don't necessarily believe that, because each person, because you come to know who you are and you get stronger that way. And each person's life it's from their own perspective, and people are so alike in so many ways and have different problems with the same responsibilities. And then I've met so many even able-bodied people that I've been able to really connect with since I've gotten hurt. And that goes back to the fact that when you're accessing resources, it's not impossible and people will understand you. You just have to stand up for yourself. So I think that's it, but it was very nice to do this video, and I hope it helps. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gayl Brunk, Executive Director for Valley Associates for Independent Living. You've heard from Kasey, and you've heard her story of self-advocacy, and I'm going to share with you how a Center for Independent Living can be an instrumental part in the transition planning. As the Executive Director for Valley Associates for Independent Living, the Center for Independent Living, serving Planning District 6 in the Commonwealth of Virginia, I am responsible for the program development and implementation, funding, and the overall operation of the entity. We are ensuring positive relationships with our other community partners, and we also are seeking always independence for individuals with disabilities in their community. Centers for Independent Living are non-residential. They serve individuals with disabilities in the communities in which they live. There are 16 Centers for Independent Living in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and they are mandated to provide 4 core services. Those 4 core services are independent living skills training, information and referral, advocacy, and peer mentoring. The independent living skills training is where individuals learn the life skills that they need to be independent in the community, whether that be budgeting, grocery shopping, meal preparation, laundry. Peer mentoring is where individuals with disabilities are mentoring other individuals with disabilities. Oftentimes it's very helpful to have someone who has journeyed a similar journey to just share their experience with. Advocacy looks very different depending on what the situation is. Centers for Independent Living advocate for accessible communities, accessing services, and assistance with securing those services. And information and referral is a large service that CILS provide, connecting individuals with disabilities to their community resources. The mission for all CILS is to promote independence for individuals with disabilities. CILS serve as a resource for people with disabilities to know and understand their community-based services, the resources available to them, as well as to know the laws such as the ADA and the Fair Housing Act and how they affect them. Centers for Independent Living advocate for systems change as needed to ensure that people with disabilities have access to their community. Along with the 4 core services that Centers for Independent Living provide, many centers provide other services. These can range from youth transition to IEP assistance, case management for the Developmental Disabilities Waiver, service facilitation for what is called the Elderly Disabled with Consumer Direction Waiver, as well as the Intellectual Disabilities with Consumer Directed Waiver. They also help with recycling programs of durable medical equipment, options counseling, where an individual experiences a life-changing situation and is needing to know what their options are for long-term care or for remaining in the community. Each Center for Independent Living is unique in their service delivery, but all must provide the 4 core services. How do students with disabilities secure services? There is a website that you can just Google Centers for Independent Living in the Commonwealth of Virginia and click on the area in Virginia in which you live, and it will list the center that is closest to you. Centers do not have a formal referral process other than the individual themselves, if they are over 18, must make the phone call themselves. You must be willing to work with the center and just share what it is they're looking for. We often tell people, sometimes you don't know the question to ask. Just call and talk through your situation with us, and we will be glad to help you understand what services you might be missing that are there in your community. We also do advocacy through the individual education plan process, working with schools and families in the partnership that occurs during that process to know services, supports that might be needed for the individual to be independent and to achieve their highest level. Centers for Independent Living are also integral in the transition plan of moving from school services to adult services, recognizing that there is a huge difference between those services and helping individuals and their families access them. The top 3 tips that I would have for special educators would be early transition planning and goal setting is vital. Knowing what the individual themselves wants to do, recognizing that we all change our paths along the way. Bringing in the community-based services during class, during the IEP process, and during family meetings. Often families are not aware of what is available in the community, and in my opinion, it's too much to expect the educators to know all that is available in the community. So the partnership is vital. I also believe in providing challenging curriculum that brings out the individual's strengths and helps them focus on their abilities is also very much needed for individuals with disabilities. And the skills that the students need to succeed. Being a self-advocate. As you heard from Kasey earlier, knowing what your own personal needs are, being able to verbalize them, share them, express them, and advocate for yourself and the services that you know you need are vital to independence. Also knowing how to refer to appropriate supports. Being exposed to your local service providers increases an individual's comfort with reaching out to them and understanding what services they may provide. Knowing how and when to disclose your disability in an employment or education setting. And also being taught appropriate social skills for navigating the community are some of the skills that students need to succeed. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Malcolm King, and I'm with the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services. You've heard from Gayl and Kasey about self-advocacy and resources in the community, and I would like to talk to you just a bit about another resource known as the Community Services Board. But first, a little bit about me. As I said, I'm with the Department of Behavioral Health, and I'm a Child and Family Program Specialist in the Office of Child and Family Services. My primary duties are project and program development and policy review and development, but my 2 most important parts of my position are training activities as well as providing technical assistance for community service boards. The community services boards, also known as behavioral health authorities, are spread out throughout the state, and there are 40 of them which provide a variety of services. As you see on the website, there is a web page that provides detailed information regarding all of the service boards, and within that website you will find a directory that will give you specific information about the community service board that provides services for your particular locality. It should be noted that the community service boards are all locally operated, locally funded, and they do receive some federal funding through our office, but have local autonomy. And therefore, many of the services that are provided in one CSB may not be provided in another. CSBs typically tailor their service delivery to the population that they serve and are guided by the demographics of the population of the service area as well as the population that is involved in those demographics. The CSB services are provided through a taxonomy, if you will, of services that include parenting programming, support groups, as well as intensive case management. It should be noted that there are only two mandated services, case management and emergency services. Case management is provided through a funding source that is specific to that service. Emergency services are provided on a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week basis, and again are tailored to the particular board in your locality. In terms of accessing the CSB, if you would go to the CSB website, or the website that was provided to you in the earlier slides, you will get more details on how to access the particular services, and also what the referral process is. Each board has a mechanism and regulations that guide parental permission, and also how youth over the age of 18 are able to receive services and provide information to their parent and guardian. The tips that I have for teachers include becoming familiar with the service capacity of your local CSB. Find out who provides the specific services that you are looking for, and be very familiar with the contact information of the providers, and update them on a continuous basis, because many times the providers turn over, and whenever you're looking for services, it's important to access these services as quickly as possible. You want to determine if there are certain regulations or memorandums of agreement in place that guide the accessibility and the use of the services that are available to students within the localities. And students really do not need to have special skills on how to access these services, because there is information through the CSB that guides the student on accessing the services, as well as there are trained staff that are matched with the student, and are also trained in how to access the specific service that the students need, and help them understand which the best way to navigate that particular CSB to access the service. Other tips for teachers include encouraging the student to keep their appointments. One of the areas that we find that is difficult for the CSB is the client will come one time, and that they find that the system is not moving as fast as they want, and therefore they drop out of services. The second thing is, you want not only for them to keep the appointment, but to maintain the appointment, and don't get discouraged if services don't come as fast as they had intended for them to be. Also, it is important for them to not only be involved in their own treatment, but also to ask a lot of questions while going through treatment and following that particular treatment plan. As Kasey said earlier, it is important to be a self-advocate, and while working with the CSB, there is no better way of being a self-advocate than to be personally involved in your treatment episode, your treatment plan, and also as teachers, you can help to motivate the student to move forward in the treatment process. Thank you.